everyone, welcome back. In this video, we'll be working with a variety of /command cooldowns, such as member, guild, and user cooldowns. So to demonstrate a user cooldown, let's run user, and it works the first time, and now we will be rate limited, so we have to wait 297 seconds. Alright, now let's jump into the code. Okay, so we're going to be building off of our Discord py/command template. The Discord py/command video linked in the top right up here will have more information about that and how it works. So let's make 4 duplicates of our /command and rename them to user, channel, and guild, and member, since we'll be making these cooldowns. So we'll be using appcommands.checks.cooldown, where 1 in this example is the rate, the number of /commands executed before a cooldown takes effect, and 5 in this example is the length of the cooldown, and the key here is the type of cooldown. So for example, a member or user cooldown. In this instance, it's a member cooldown, and if you leave the key unfilled or you do not specify it, then it will default to a user cooldown, and if none is passed, it will interpret it as a global cooldown. Okay, now let's go back to our code. Let's start with our user cooldown. Okay, for our user cooldown, we'll have a cooldown of 1 /command per every 300 seconds or 5 minutes, and this will be a user cooldown. Now let's work on our member cooldown. For our member cooldown, we'll need to add our guild ID as well as the user ID. The difference between a user and member cooldown is that the member cooldown is regulated on a guild by guild basis, since it's tied with the guild, rather than a global basis. So for example, I would be able to run the member command and get rate limited in one server, but then be able to go to another server and still be able to execute the command in that server. Okay, now let's work on our guild cooldown. For our guild cooldown, we only need to pass our guild ID. Okay, now let's work on our channel cooldown. Similarly, we just have to pass the channel ID. Now let's work on our error handling. So in the example, there was command by command error handling. If you would like to do that, you can, but I'm going to show you tree-based error handling. So tree-based error handling just handles all the errors that your application commands experience. Okay, so we have our tree error. So whenever a application command error occurs, we'll get the error and interaction. So we need to check if the error is caused by a cooldown. So use if_is_instance to check if the error is a command on cooldown error. Okay, so basically this checks if the error is caused by a command on cooldown. If it is, it's going to respond with the error, and it's going to be an ephemeral message. So let's add else erase error in case there's some other error. So what this will do is that if it's not caused by a command on cooldown, then it will raise the error in your terminal. If you want, you can also have a custom message like wait for XYZ seconds instead of a default message, but that's up to you. Okay, so to demonstrate the default error message, this top message will have the error, the default error message. And then if we wanted to custom, we could use error.retry after. Then you could have your custom message. And that's about it. Now let's run our code. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Before we run our code, we need to add our guild IDs. And then since we want to test our guild level cooldown, we need to sync to 2 different servers. So let's do that now. Okay, so we sync to 2 guilds. Make sure you only sync when you have to. So that's when you modify your command's name, permissions, description, location, like switching from global to guild-based commands or vice versa. And when you add or remove a command. So since we added 4 commands, we will need a sync. And we'll be using the guilds argument, as you can see. Also, I found that you have to have interaction before you have error. Otherwise, your lint will have an error. And now let's run our code. Okay, now let's go to Discord and test out our commands. Okay, let's run our user /command. And let's run it again. And it says we are on cooldown. So let's try to run it in another server. And we are still on cooldown. Let's run our member cooldown now, or member /command. And we're on cooldown in this server. But if we go to another server, we are not on cooldown. Let's run our guild cooldown. So we're on cooldown here, but we are not on cooldown here. Now let's run our channel cooldown. So let's run it here. They both work here. And if we run this again, we'll have another cooldown in here. So if you found this video helpful, please consider liking the video and subscribing. I know everyone says this, but it would really help out the channel. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to comment down below in the comment section or join our Discord. This link is on screen. Thank you for watching.